All right, guys. So in a continuation of the Let's Go Brandon madness, right? The left-wing liberal media being outraged by the fact that a dad said, "Let's go Brandon" to Joe Biden. We have a story about the original Brandon, okay? Brandon Brown, the NASCAR driver, whom basically helped spark this whole movement accidentally, right? He really didn't have anything to do with it. As he was the guy, the original Brandon, that was being referenced when the NBC News reporter Kelly Stavast basically tried to say that a crowd was yelling "Let's go Brandon" when they were actually really yelling "F Joe Biden." Okay, so this guy has kind of been caught up in this, right, inadvertently, and he appears to be suffering the consequences. He appears to be getting canceled, even though he's not really endorsing this meme that has taken his name and made it viral. As he says that corporations don't want to sponsor him over the "Let's Go Brandon" chant. Now, I have some thoughts about this that I want to get into, but first let's read a little bit more about what Mr. Brandon Brown is saying. The NASCAR driver, who recently rose in fame after unintentionally sparking the "Let's Go Brandon" phrase, says he's had a hard time finding corporate sponsors following the chant going viral. Quote, "It got extremely difficult for us. If you're a national corporation, that means you sell to all consumers. And unfortunately, when you get dragged into the political arena, people want to take a side," Brown told Sports Business Journal in a recent interview. "It's hard for a brand to want to attach to somebody who might be kind of divisive in their customer base. If I'm going to divide Coca-Cola, why would they want to talk to me?" Now, that's an interesting point. But here's the thing. We live in 2021 and all these corporations are political. It's just that their politics happens to be left-leaning. Okay, and see, these corporations really don't care about the divisiveness, right, in regards to being political. They simply just want to be associated with left-wing stuff because they feel like they can make money off of that, right? For whatever reason, corporations don't think that conservatives have money anymore, okay? I don't really understand. The phrase "Let's Go Brandon" took over social media in October after an NBC interview with Brown. Fans of NASCAR were chanting "F Joe Biden" during the interview, and in an apparent attempt to steer the interview away from politics, reporter Kelly Stavast said they were chanting "Let's Go Brandon" in support of Brown. So Brandon, right, if he's going to blame anybody for this, he really shouldn't blame the fans, okay, who would say "F Joe Biden." He really should blame the mainstream media, right? He should blame Kelly Stavast, right, for lying about what the fans were actually saying, because if she never said that, this chant doesn't become a thing, right? This meme doesn't become a thing, okay? It would have just remained "F Joe Biden." However, because of the mainstream media, you're now facing the consequences of this. You can't blame the fans, okay? You can't blame them. You can't blame conservatives for doing this. You got to blame her because she's the one that lied about what they were saying in the first place. And that's not the only reason that he should blame mainstream media, but I'm going to get into that a little bit more here after I finish reading this. The phrase soon became synonymous with criticism of President Biden and rang out at concerts, sports games, and events where Biden has spoken. So the short answer is it's been tough to connect with partnerships just because it's kind of viewed as a ticking time bomb. What is he going to choose or say, and how would that affect our consumer base? It's too much of a risk. I understand it on their side, but it's made it really hard to tie everything down, Brown continued. Yeah, so again, I find it hilarious and interesting how these corporations never seem to worry about those things when it comes to sponsoring divisive figures like Colin Kaepernick, right, who comes out here and says crazy stuff about white folks, right, racist stuff, says the NFL is basically a slave plantation, advocates to abolish the police, says all types of crazy stuff, okay? But for whatever reason, these woke corporations don't see that as a threat to their bottom line, okay? I just find it interesting how somebody like Kaepernick, who is a flat-out political activist, a radical, he can get a sponsorship from Nike. However, Brandon Brown, who is not associated with politics, he says he's not really a political person, even though I think that he may be upset with Joe Biden over inflation. That's what I've been reading. He, on the other hand, he's getting canceled, right? He's getting canceled just for being inadvertently associated with something on the right. Again, it's kind of crazy how it works. Just on Christmas Eve, controversy was sparked when a dad of 4 called to speak with Biden and the First Lady during a holiday-themed event and said the phrase live on the call. Quote, "I hope you guys have a wonderful Christmas as well. Merry Christmas and let's go, Brandon," the dad said. Identified as Jared Smack from Oregon, said at the end of the call. Biden responded, "Let's go, Brandon. I agree." The president then asked Smack where in Oregon he is from, but no one responded. "I think we lost him," Biden said. Yeah, so in response to that, the mainstream media has basically said that that's an insurrection, said that "let's go, Brandon" is violence, is disrespectful towards the president, etc., right? It's a right-wing slur. So when Brandon Brown, when he's wondering, why is it that these corporations don't want to sponsor here, or why is he having issues getting sponsorships, he really should blame the mainstream media, right? First and foremost, again, for that NBC reporter that lied about what fans were actually saying, first and foremost, and then two, for the mainstream liberal media making this phrase out to be much more than what it actually is, right? They're saying it's a slur, okay? They're saying it's violence, okay? They're comparing it to an insurrection. Yeah, when the mainstream liberal media is saying stuff like that, of course corporations are going to want to back away and say, hey, you know what? I'm not so sure if I want to be associated with this, right? I'm not sure if I want to be associated with you because, again, the chant came from an interview that you were doing. So, again, if Brandon is trying to blame somebody here, he really needs to blame the mainstream liberal media. They are the ones that are responsible for ruining his opportunity to make money because they have basically made this phrase out to be much more than what it actually is, right? It's not his fault. It's not the fans' fault who have basically co-opted this phrase. It's not their fault. It's the mainstream media's fault. That's who he needs to be blaming, right? He needs to be going after them because they're the ones that are pushing this stuff. And let's not forget about these woke corporations themselves. They should take some blame as well because, again, they're more than willing to sponsor people like Kaepernick, right? And companies like Nike, they're more than willing to be in bed with human rights abusers like China, okay? Even though they claim that they're supposed to be against racism, they're supposed to be for social justice and change and all this stuff. They're more than happy to be in bed with controversial and divisive figures. They're more than happy to do it. So Brandon should be asking the question of, why is it that they're cool with being associated with countries like China and left-wing radicals like Colin Kaepernick, but not with a NASCAR driver who inadvertently got caught up in this chant that has been co-opted by conservatives, right? That's the question he really should be asking, okay? Because, again, it's not like these corporations have any issues actually being political or divisive at all. They really don't. So with that being said, if I'm Brandon, right? If I know that these woke corporations are canceling me, I would just say F them and just lean into it, right? Lean all into, yeah, my name is Brandon Brown, and I helped spark the Let's Go Brandon protest. Lean into it. I'm sure there will be some sponsors out there, some companies out there that are going to want to sponsor you, right? Because, well, one, you're a NASCAR driver, and NASCAR, they have a more conservative fan base, or at least they did, if they haven't alienated all the conservatives considering the things they've done. Yeah, I would lean into it, right? I would lean all into it, okay? You don't have to be in bed with these woke corporations to make money, okay? You can make money appealing to people who actually are going to support you and who aren't going to cancel you simply because your name happens to be in a right-wing meme, right? So, I mean, like I said, it's just a shame that the Brandons and the Karens of the world have to go through all this because of politics. But it's really not an indictment on them as much as an indictment on these woke corporations that claim they don't want to be associated with this stuff except divisive things that they actually agree with or they think they can make money off of. So, hey, it is what it is. I hope Brandon does actually get some sponsorships and is able to, make some money because I do think it's entirely unfair for him to be going through this considering how it wasn't really his fault. It was the media's fault that this happened in the first place. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.